Hi, today, I'm making Slingÿ, a 3D printed, pinch grip slingshot. The slingshot prints in halves. And today I'm printing in a tricolor blue theme. To make this slingshot super strong, I'm using a technique called epoxy lamination and fill, or ELF for short. ELF results in a laminated epoxy filament composite. Starting in the slicer, the most noticeable change is that bottom layers are set to 0 and infill is set to gyroid at 30%. The result is that the underside of the part will be porous and allow for filling with epoxy. I've used 3 wall perimeters, but most of the part strength will come from the epoxy rather than the filament. Time to print. First layer. Color change at 3.5 millimeters. Front half, done. Same process to print the slingshot rear half. A bead for a wrist strap is printed into halves. And some eyes for fun. Here are the front and rear parts of our slingshot. Note the underside where we can see directly into the infill. I'm going to apply some slow setting epoxy. This is a 2-part marine epoxy that takes about 24 hours to cure. It doesn't start to tack up for a few hours after it is mixed, allowing plenty of working time. The epoxy is applied directly onto the infill, into which it flows freely. Add more epoxy as it is absorbed. Include working the edges, which will be used to glue the 2 parts together. We'll speed the video up as we fully cover both parts. You can see how the glue immediately soaks into the part. Next, we glue our bead and eye pieces and leave everything sit for a couple of hours so that the epoxy can start to tack up. A few hours later, we ensure that there is a good surface layer of glue and then clamp the slingshot parts together. I found zip ties to be very effective for this purpose. They make adjusting the parts and getting them aligned easy. Wipe away any excess glue that oozes out between the parts. Periodically turn the piece over so that the epoxy evenly settles. Allow to set overnight. Once the epoxy has had time to cure, remove the zip ties, and our slingshot is almost finished. I've given the slingshot a light sand, a buff with steel wool, and a thin coat of silicone oil to produce an even matte finish. With a bit of effort, it is possible to sand the PLA smooth and polish it to shine, like I have on this one. To finish, I'm adding some bands using the wrap and tuck technique. Thin rubber strip is used to bind the band in place. The band is doubled back and further wraps added. A string loop is used to tuck the band back under itself. The same process is used to secure the band to the other limb. Ensure that there are no twists in the band. Finally, I like to add a strip of filament in the loop created by folding back the band. This adds extra security against the band pulling through. A wrist loop with our printed bead is added, and we're all done. I'm currently shooting with 0.6mm bands and 8mm ball bearings. I like shooting with a gangster position and a butterfly stance. Thanks for watching. My slingshot designs are available from Cults 3D. Links in the video description.